What's up? What's up? It's your boy CoreyB. So today what I want to talk about is this unfortunate circumstance that seems to be permeating our society more and more, and it's becoming commonplace. This living paycheck to paycheck has been normalized way too much in our society. And the thing is people want to get away from this paycheck to paycheck, but they're trying to get away from it. The way they're trying to go about it, I feel, is the wrong approach. We've all been there. Or maybe not all of us, but a lot of us have been there. I've definitely been there. I remember being younger and I was living paycheck to paycheck. I was living incredibly beyond my means. In college, I had credit cards. I was racking up debt. I was trying to live this lifestyle that I didn't quite have yet. I remember launching a business, watching my business struggle. I remember the first business I ever launched. I was a head cook at a restaurant out in Oak Hill, South Austin. And meanwhile, I was commuting back and forth to San Antonio, which, for those of y'all don't know, is only about an hour. So I was commuting back and forth while I was doing some contracting labor for my uncle, who had his own business. Well, my uncle had his own business. He was running an eBay business, and he was literally, providing for his house. He was providing for his family. He had 3 kids, wife, 3 kids. They were both working, but they were both making good money. He was making substantial money doing eBay. And so as he was doing this, it continued to weigh on my mind because he was paying me to come down there and help him organize things, itemize things, things like that. And he was like, this was 22 years ago now. And he told me, he was like, man, you really got to do yours. He's like, you got to launch you a business. You've really got to do this eBay. And he had this run track mind. He was like, eBay's too easy. He's like, it's what you got to do. And I was like, okay, fine. And so I gave it a shot. But the thing with eBay, which a lot of people don't understand, is when you launch an eBay business, if you don't already have things, like you don't already have inventory, then ultimately what you've got to do is acquire inventory. Well, that's going to cost you money. It's going to cost you money to go out and buy things. You gotta research. You gotta spend some time and effort. And so at first, and this was back in 2001, so we didn't all have smartphones yet. So doing research was a little more complicated. So me and my uncle literally tag team from time to time. He would call me and he'd be like, hey man, I'm out here. I'm at this flea market. I'm at this thrift store. I'm at a Goodwill. I'm at Salvation Army, whatever. He's like, I'm at this place where I can get some secondhand stuff. And I see this item. Here's the little code. He would look up some model number or something that he'd find on it. And he'd tell me, hey, can you run me a search real quick on your computer? And I was like, yeah. So I'd look it up, and then we do comps, okay? So we do comps, we check what's the going price, when we just do a standard search engine search, what is it? At the time I wasn't using Google, I don't know what I was using. But anyways, it doesn't matter. But I would search it and see what it costed. Then I would say, okay, well, obviously this is what it costs, but this is from like a retailer. So what does it cost if we're going to try to sell it on eBay? So then we look it up on eBay. Okay, we were doing all this and we were doing things the hard way. Okay, well, meanwhile, like I said, he already had an established business, and him, I can talk to you about that later. His established business was a progression. Well, see, I was working my job. I was working, at the time, I was hitting overtime every week. I was literally working, 45, 50 hours minimum at my job. Then, on top of that, I was trying to get accepted into school at the time. But I was trying to find ways that I could squeeze school in between. I wanted to grow this business. So meanwhile, and also I was looking at my uncle's life, and I'm looking at how he was living, and I'm like, man, this is how he's living. And I got some buddies over here, and this is how they're living. And so I was like, well, you have that mentality of you got to spend money to make money. Yeah, but your money has to be invested wisely. If it's not invested wisely, spending money to make money doesn't work. But if you don't spend money, yes, you won't make money. You have to spend money. You have to invest in something. You have to invest in yourself, educating yourself, learning trades, taking master classes, going to get certified somewhere, getting licensing, buying product, buying merchandise, whatever it is. It doesn't matter what aspect of anything. If you believe that you're going to make money without ever spending a dime, it's going to be fluke. I assure you, it's a fluke. I mean, even the people who are doing this, like creators, people who are doing Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and they're making money from it. They're making money because they're spending money to do ads, to have really cool items that you want to see them use. And obviously, yes, eventually you can get to the level where you have sponsorships and stuff. But when you're first starting, you're not getting a sponsorship because they don't know who you are. Like, it takes money to make money. Okay, so that's where this endless struggle is. And so as I've recently been sharing on TikTok, and it's been a hot minute since I've been on Instagram, but I used to share content on Instagram frequently, and I would talk about this concept of, that we've got to make better choices. It's like, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, I can almost guarantee that it's your choice. Now, like I said, almost. Because there's a lot of people who have found themselves in a situation. There's a lot of people who found themselves in a situation. You're a single parent. And, a lot of people will frown on single parents, saying that, well, they got themselves into this. Yeah, they got themselves into it because they chose to have a kid. But they also didn't necessarily get themselves into it because maybe they didn't assume that partner wasn't going to be there. Okay, so there are circumstances like that. There's also circumstances where people have been injured on a job and it's difficult they may get some compensation from workman's comp, things like that, but it's still, they're not. I had a friend, unfortunately, this lady she was a girl. She was, I think I was older than her actually. But this girl that was at my church, I remember she had her back injured and she got a settlement. But that settlement, living in our society, a settlement doesn't go anywhere. It's like a little piece. But she injured her back, and they did surgery on her back, and the company that she was working for covered the surgery and all the medical bills and things like that. But then afterwards, something went left in the surgical procedure, and they could never pinpoint what went wrong. And because they could never pinpoint what went wrong, there wasn't really any... They couldn't find liability. Anyways, long story short, otherwise, she was unable to continue pursuing work. It was really difficult and really challenging for her. There was only certain things that she was able to do, a lot of things that she couldn't do. So I'm not saying that there's not situations like this. There's absolutely situations where people are unable to earn the income that they once were. But I will tell you that the majority of people that are out there in America that are living paycheck to paycheck, it's not because of legislation. It's not because of taxes. It's not because of minimum wage. And it's not because inflation. Oh, man. It's not. It's not because of any of those things. The majority of us that have been there or are still there is because you've made a choice. Because you've chosen what you want. Ultimately, what you want is you want a lifestyle that you haven't afforded yet. I was there. Like I said, I was young and dumb. We've all been there. I wanted a lifestyle I hadn't yet earned. And so I kept thinking to myself, I'm like I was digging myself in deeper, especially when I started school. Then when I got enrolled in college, it even got worse my freshman year because I had this mentality that I'm like, I'm going to catch up, right? I'm going to catch up. I kept seeing these things happening and I was growing my business. I was trying to grow my business. My business was failing. It was not like my uncle's. My uncle's had already taken off. Mine has not taken off. Mine was tanking. Mine was stagnant. Mine was, because I wasn't even spending the ample time that I needed to be spending because I was busy trying to get through school and working a job at the same time. I didn't have time to make it work. But I was trying, but I wasn't being smart enough. I would just go and buy some things and be like, oh, okay, well, I hope they sell. Even when, my uncle had given me advice from time to time, and he was like, well, maybe you should invest in different kinds of merchandise and stuff. Maybe that's not really what's working for you. And at first I was like, nah, man, no. I know what I'm doing. I felt like I was smart. I felt like and it's not that I was stupid. I mean, I was smart. I was a smart guy. I did understand business, but I didn't understand the flipping on eBay yet. I was missing it. And the reason, to me, a big part of what I felt I was missing is I wasn't going with what I knew. And see, I think a lot of people have that struggle when they get in to try to launch a business of their own, is you got to go with what you know. And if you don't know, then you've got to become educated. I would look at my uncle had his garage. He had another room in his house. And then he had 2 storage units down the road of all this, inventory that he had. And I would look at it, and to me, I saw it looked like somebody cleaned out their garage or their attic and dumped it in his storage. I mean, it looked like he had everything. So when I went to the Goodwill or the thrift stores or the flea markets or the whatever, whenever I would try to go get this stuff to resell, I would be like, I'd see something like, well, that's $4. Gotta be good, right? I mean, it looks like something that Bubba would have in his garage. And what about that? Oh, well, it looks like something. But he knew what he was doing. And see, that's where I got myself in over my head with my business, was not yet understanding it. Once I took a step back and said, what is it that I know? I knew video games. There was these little collectibles called Hero Clicks. They were like, I don't know. It was like playing D&D, but with superheroes, comic book characters. And I understood that. I understood the value in the different characters. Me and a couple buddies used to go to these comic book stores, and we'd see them in the glass cases. And I knew the inherent value of some of them opposed to the other ones. And I knew the rarities, and I also understood, me and a couple buddies played the game from time to time. So I understood the game, which helped me to understand how to sell it, because it was something I would buy. If you would buy it, then you may be able to sell it. If you would never buy it, you can't sell it. I'll just tell you that right now. You can't sincerely sell it to someone who's not already trying to buy it if it's not something you would be willing to buy in the first place. So that's where I missed that mark. So anyways, like I said, I was getting myself in deeper and deeper. I don't want to get too sidetracked. I feel like I already have. But see, these are the steps that I took. These are the choices that I made. And then as I was going through school, I was like, well, I'm at school and I need to eat, and I'm tired of living off of ramen. And I would go weeks living off of like ramen noodles. And then there was other weeks where I was like, nah, man, screw it. I'm going to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to Burger King. I'm going wherever I want. There was this place called Old Town that made gangster breakfast tacos. I mean, oh, banging. But it was right off the drag, and I friggin' loved it. And I would go spend $8 and get me a breakfast taco and a coffee. And it was like, and $8 doesn't sound like a lot today because Starbucks costs like $10. But back in 2001, $8 for a coffee and a taco was a lot. So like I said, I mean, it just kind of, I allowed myself to get out of control. And then I had this, oddly enough, I didn't frequently want to impress my friends, but I really did want to impress my mom. I did. I wanted to like show my mom that I had made it, right? So I'm like 20 years old and 20 years old. 20. I was just a kid still. But I was 20 years old, and I wanted to show my mom that I had made it and that I was legit. I was on the level. I was building my own business, and I had this cool little hip apartment, and I had cool stuff in my apartment, and I was like living beyond my means. Beyond my means. Got myself car payment. had insurance, bills, then I had, I don't remember what it was, but it was like, I had like TiVo and, I don't remember what it was, but it was something. I had like Uverse or something. I don't remember when Uverse was, but I think it was Uverse. But I had this ridiculous cable package. It was like $120 a month. $120 for cable back in 2001 was a lot. Like now, I'm streaming everything I got now for, I think we're paying half that. I mean, and it's like, I was living beyond my means. You're living beyond your means. Most of us, at one point or another, have made a choice that we wanted something. And see, that's what it came down to, is what I wanted. What do you want most? See, now, I cancel subscriptions all the time. Like, we'll sign up for a subscription because we're like, oh, well, we really need it because we're trying to watch this thing, or we want to see that thing, or there's this event and it's only aired on this streaming platform. So we'll sign up, we'll keep it for a month, 2 months, and we're like, okay, you know what? It's time to scrap it. I mean, it's only $12, it's only $15, it's only $10. I don't need it. Because see, money matters. Back then, money didn't matter. To me, I was like, I can always make more. I could always make more. No. See, now I know I can make more, but I also know that the value of that money came from my time and my effort. If we start looking at money differently, we start spending it differently. And when we start spending it differently, we get in a better position. And look, at the end of the day, I'll tell you right now, because so many people have talked to me. I've talked about it, like I said, on TikTok and so many places, and people are like, well, it's so easy to say, just make these investments and do this and start saving and, make your money work for you and do all these different things. And it's so easy to say that, but how do you do that when you've got kids and you've got a mortgage and you've got a car payment and you're in over your head at this point. So this goes out right now. A shout out to all of you youngsters, man. Everybody who's yet to get themselves in that position where you've got all these dependents, where you've got all these responsibilities, all these things that are going to eat up your bankroll before you get a car note, before you get a mortgage, before you have a husband or wife or children. Make your choices now. Make wise decisions now. And if you're already beyond that, I tell you, encourage those around you. Warren Buffett has said it many times. Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha, notoriously known as one of the greatest investors of all time. He made his He bought his first share in a stock. He bought his first stock back when he was 11 years old. I got two little boys, Corey and Colton. Y'all seen them. Y'all know. Colton bought his first when he was 7. Corey bought his first when he was 8. Now, you can believe in the stock market. You cannot believe in the stock market. If you don't believe in the stock market, I mean, that's okay. I ain't mad at you. You got to do something wise with your money, though. And putting it in a mattress and throwing it in the back room of the house ain't it. And just dumping in a savings account's not the worst thing you could do, but there's definitely better things you could do. There's so many ways you can invest your money. And I'm telling you, I assure you, start young. Start early. Start as absolutely as soon as you... I remember back when I was in 7th grade, one of my midterm projects for my math class. I remember we did this whole thing where we started back in like the second or third week of classes. And what we did was we were shown how to manage a spreadsheet. Old school spreadsheet. so it's this old school spreadsheet, and we were showed how to manage it and how to, fill in lines and make things calculate. And, like this space is going to plus this space, and this is going to equal this. This is going to take a percentage and equal this. So it showed us how to break all that down. And what we did, wait, I was 11, man. And we invested in stocks. We picked dummy stocks. We picked dummy stocks and invested in them. And then just saw if we came out plus or minus at the end of the week. Or at the end of the week, we had to recalculate and recalibrate and see where we were. And then at the end of the semester, we had to turn it all in with all our sheets. And we had to show whether we were in the red or the black each consecutive week. And they could see if we were doing it right. They were seeing if we were using Excel properly. They were seeing if we were doing you know what? I think that was for actually computer class, because it was testing not our mathematics, but our Excel. That's right. But anyways, we did this class and we did this project. And see, I remember back then wanting to be like, oh man, I wish I could do this. This is such a cool thing. I was a grown man before I actually invested in my first stock. Why did I not invest sooner? I don't know. Why didn't I come home and tell my mom and say, hey mom, look, this is so cool. Wouldn't it be great if I did this right now? I don't know. And then there was several years all through college I didn't even invest. I kept saying, I can do it later. And I spent time in college like reading. I would read things out of the Wall Street Journal and read things online. I would go to the computer lab at, I was at the University of Texas. I would go to the computer lab and I would look up things about what was going on in the stock market. So I thought it was so cool and so exciting. And yet I chose not to capitalize on that moment. And I remember one time even having a conversation with my uncle and saying, and we were like, oh yeah, man, there's this company that's about to launch and Bill Gates had been talking about this and that. And what if it was some cell phone company that Bill Gates had been talking about partnering with. And we were like, wouldn't it be cool if we got in on this? And but just didn't for years. I'm leveraged now. I'm very well leveraged. My portfolio is incredible. I love the things that I'm invested in. I love seeing, even some of them are down right now, and I ain't mad about it because it's blue light special, baby. I just get to buy more at a discount because the companies that I'm invested in, I know about, I understand, and I trust. It's never too late to do these things. It's never too late to get started. But even though it's never too late to get started, the sooner you get started, the better. Absolutely. I wish I had gotten started at 11. I'm so proud of my boys, and I'm so glad. I'm glad that I've taken this time to really sit down with them and start to explain. They know what a stock is. They know that it means that it's a percentage of this company, and they own this much, and that they don't really have any power, but it allows them to gain, earn money based on how well the company does and how well the stock grows. And they understand this. And they, on a regular basis, will check, Dad, what's my stock at? How much is it worth now? It's like, because they know I have the app on my phone, so I can just pull it up real fast. But it's like, this is such a cool thing. And I'm so excited for them. I'm excited for their future. And I'm excited for my future. And I want to get excited for your future too, because I want you to do better. So what we got to do is we got to start taking initiative. So yes, absolutely. If you start young, if you start early, if you start before you're already established, then yes, you will have a much easier time solidifying your place and your position to never have to live paycheck to paycheck. But if you're already in that spot, you're already living beyond your means. You're already living paycheck to paycheck. You've already got kids. You've already got a wife or a husband or, whatever. You've got your mother-in-law who's elderly and sick and now staying in your second room. These things happen. So what you could do is start taking, and I assure you, baby steps will get you there, but they will get you there incredibly slowly. So take the biggest steps you could take. So what can you do? Start looking at your budget. What can you change? I had a very good friend, the Family Budget. She's on Instagram. She's posted some videos on YouTube. She's incredible. You should check her out, the Family Budget. But she talks about personal finance, and she breaks it down. She shows recipes and things she makes for her family, things she cooks. And she's like, look, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go in the pantry and I'm going to pull these things out. And look, tonight I was able to not have to buy anything because I have these leftovers from other meals, when I have the breadcrumbs from when I made this, and I have this from when I made that, and I have this from when I made that, and I can turn all these extras into yet another meal. Oh, and see this one, I remember one of the cool tips that she told me. She was like, we're making chicken tonight. And I normally would go into the store and I would buy the biggest package of chicken that I could buy. But then I realized, why am I doing that? Because we don't actually, all of us, eat all of that. It's more than we actually need. So she's like, I'm looking at this one and it's $9.73, but this one's $7.95. So I'm going to get the $7.95 one. It's just a small portion less chicken, but we don't need that small portion extra. And I just saved $2. Or $1.80 or whatever it was. But it's like, that's the mentality you got to start having. You got to start having that mentality of, you know, I remember there was a joke that Warren Buffett once said. He said he stepped under an elevator and he saw a penny, and there was two guys on the elevator. They both looked at him and he looked at them, and you know, as he as the elevator door opened and he went to step off, he bent down and picked up said penny. And as the two guys looked at him funny, and I was like, what are you doing? He's like, this is my next million. It's like, I'm on my way. It's like this penny. And that seems so silly and so obscure, but if you look at money as if all of it matters. There's a great guy that I worked for, Robert Strait. Oh, incredibly talented man, smart man, all around great guy. But I remember, to Robert, it didn't matter if he spent $5,000 or if he spent $5. He was absolutely certain he was going to get his money's worth. So if he paid $5 for something and he got what he ordered, and he's like, well, this isn't right, he was going to fix it because he spent $5 on it. And if he spent $5,000 and he's like, oh, I got this device, and he's like, well, it's $5,000. He's like, but this isn't exactly what I wanted. Then he was going to fix it. See, some people got this mentality, if it's a small amount of money, I don't have to fix it. Why? It's your money. It's your money. Get what you paid for. And start being more cautious in what you spend it on. Like I said about the streaming, how many of us have invested in different streaming platforms? How many of you, there's an app now, I don't remember what it is, but I've seen an advertisement on TikTok multiple times where you can actually pull it up on your phone and it can tell you all of the things that are on your phone that you're paying for, and do you want to keep paying for them? How many of us have been in a position where we started paying for something accidentally, or we paid for something for a momentary time? Like I said, I signed up for a streaming platform just because there was this event that I wanted to watch. It was the only place to watch it, so I had to signed up, and then afterwards I was like, next month I got to cancel this bad boy because I really don't want it. I just needed it for that one event. But if you forget to cancel it, and then you forget, and then you forget, and then you forget, and you forget, 2 years later, you've been paying $20 a month times 2 years. Come on. It adds up. It adds up fast. It adds up quick. When you do that so often with so many little things, people are constantly running behind on their credit card payments. Your credit card bill, it comes, they want you to pay as little as possible because they want to keep collecting interest. So you get your credit card bill, you pull it out of the mail, you look over it and you're like, man, it's only $50, but I'm really strapped. I'm going to have to take care of it next week. Well, next week, it's late. And next week, they'll still accept $50. They will. They will absolutely accept your $50 because it was the minimum payment. But now they've tacked on an extra $30 for a late fee onto your credit card bill, which only took you lower. So the fact that you were paying $50 and only about $20 of it was going towards the principal. Anyways, now you're paying $50, $20 is going to the principal. They added on another $30, so you actually lost $10. Sounds like not much. But people who hold on to credit cards that have a balance, and they've been holding on to it for 10 years, well, $10 a month, times 12 months, times 10 years, Oddly enough, you could have taken that $10 that you wasted, that you lost. Not to mention, it's more than $10, it's to $30. Your balance is just $10 lower, but you've actually lost the $30 also. This is just obscene how out of control it gets. Then you've got people who have to. I'm using my awesome smartphone. People have to have the newest, latest, greatest, dopest, coolest iPhone, Galaxy, Android, whatever it is. The Google, the Pixel, there it is. The Pixel. If you've got to have a $1,200, $1,400, or $1,500 phone, plus you've got to pay your monthly bill, that phone better be earning you some money. If it's not earning you money, what in the world do you need it for? This is what I'm talking about, okay? So when it comes down to it, it's like, we've got to make better choices. We've got to really... The shoes you're rocking. Last time you bought a new shirt. Last time you bought a... I've had people throw shade at me about my chains. This, the one with, engraved with my name on it. I've been wearing this chain since I was 15. Because my mom actually got it for me. My mom went to the guy who... she knew the guy who did it, and he actually carved it in silver. And so I've been wearing this since I was 15. I don't actually know how this thin chain necklace has lasted this long, but I get a lot of compliments on it. I love it. Some of my buddies pick on me because I'm rocking my own name. But in the 90s when I got it, it was cool. I've literally been wearing this for over 27 years now. I've been wearing this. This one I was able to get through my business. And this one my dad gave me. These were from my wife. I'm not rocking diamonds. I'm not wearing gold. You will see me repeatedly wear some of the same t-shirts again and again and again in my posts. Part of that is because I'm not buying new clothes while I'm on the road. And I'm on the road. So we're traveling with Kimberly being a travel nurse. I've only got so much clothes with me. And, you know, rather than waste money and take up space in our suitcases and things like that, you'll see me rock the same shirts, man. I'm not throwing shade at any of you for shopping. I'm not throwing shade at any of y'all for buying the kind of food that you want to eat, or buying your streaming platforms, or having the gangsta phone that you gotta have, or having your dope kicks. My kicks, by the way, were bought for me for Father's Day by my son. And I can't remember the last time I bought myself a brand new pair of kicks. There's a lot of them that I want, but I know it's not the time right now. And like I said, again, I'm not throwing shade at anybody who's flashing. I got a passion for flashing, man. I'm absolutely about it. So rock your flash. That's all good. I'm just saying, if you want to get ahead, know that you've got to make different choices. If you want to excel, make different choices. I recommend a stash account. Stash is great. Really is. It's an investment account for the stock market. It's free to download. You can download it onto your smartphone. And you can invest starting with as small as $5. So next time you're sitting in your car and you're thinking, man, I could roll over to that Chipotle and grab me a burrito bowl. Those things are like $9. If you get sour cream and guac, man, it's like $11. And they're delicious. They're great. For those that hate Chipotle, I am mad at you. It's not that serious. But just the point is you thinking about going to grab some lunch and it's going to be like $11. How about you hit up your grocery store, grab you some turkey, a sandwich, maybe one of those nice salads that are already prepared. Salad is like $4 that's already prepared. Or you can, like I said, go get you a sandwich, grab you some turkey and some bread, peanut butter and jelly. You know what I'm saying? And then instead of spending $11 on a burrito bowl, you just spent $5 on lunch, $4 on lunch, and you can take that other $6 and put it right into your stash and grow your net worth, grow your value. I feel like I've spent half an hour going on and on and on about the things that we're missing, the things that we're doing wrong. And I apologize to those of you who feel this is long-winded and took me too long to get to the point, or feel like that all I'm doing is coming at you. Like I said, all of these things that I'm saying you're doing, I've done them all myself. I've done them all. Be wise with your money. You have to remember that all of your money, you earned it. You worked hard for that money. Jay-Z said, if you want to become wealthy, every time you think about buying something, you got to ask yourself a question. Can I afford it twice? If you don't have enough extra money to buy it twice, you can't afford it. Some people, you may like or you may not like Jay-Z, but when it comes to wealth, the man knows what he's talking about. He's positioned himself wisely. He lived beyond his means when he was young because he didn't know any better. And then he learned. He learned. I lived beyond my means and I learned. You may live beyond your means right now. Let's learn. Let's help each other out. You help me out. I help you out. We help those around us out. Leave your comments below. Let's discuss. Let's open a dialogue. I think we really need to have these discussions. It's important that we talk. If we don't talk, then we won't be able to help one another. If we want to actually be able to help each other, we've got to be willing to communicate. We've got to be willing to grow. We've got to be willing to discuss the things that we're struggling with. We've got to be willing to be open with our finances and say, hey, look, this is where my finances are at, but I know that these are where my mistakes are at. This is what I've gotten wrong. This is what I need to do better. I want you to make better choices so you can never, ever live paycheck to paycheck again. I know 100% I'm not going to be there again, but I used to be. I want better for y'all, just like I want better for myself, just like I want better for those boys. All right. I hope y'all take this to heart. I hope you marinate on it, and I hope it helps you. It's your boy, CoreyB. Until next time, I'm out.